Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scene tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Firm. I am your host, Alex Luxury Gore. I'm here with Lance Luxury Cayko. Happy to be talking to you today, and happy to be talking to you about rocket ships. Not a lot of rocket ships are going up in the sky.
China just announced that they're going to start looking into the first reusable rocket ship. Did you see that?
Nice. As they should.
As they should, yeah.
Obviously.
Elon was like, as they should.
As they should. Did you see, tangent, the images from the new Webb telescope?
Pretty interesting.
I don't think so.
Oh, really?
I don't think so at all.
All right, they're not interesting. You know what I thought they looked like?
What?
Have you ever seen the granite countertops?
Yes.
I was like, you just took a picture of that granite countertop, didn't you, NASA?
Yeah. I think they fumbled the release massively. Okay. Because there's an iconic picture of like the galaxy, and there's this nebula that's birthing stars that Hubble took, who knows, 20, 30 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they took the same picture. And now it just looks like it's in 4K. And it's like, so we spent obviously billions of dollars to get an updated resolution of this picture. And even some of the headlines were like, the pictures are stunning and they're worth it. Like, no. The first thing you should have released is not a 4K resolution of a picture that we already have. It should be something like, hey, here is a proof that this planet that is only 10 light years away has water. Because that's what the telescope can do. Like, that should have been the first thing.
Got it.
Not, hey, an image we took 30 years ago. Here's an updated version.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Salty. Salty Gore.
Yeah, coming at you fast.
Coming at you fast and hard, ladies and gents.
Know what I won't be mad at?
I have no idea.
I bet you do. If you try out, download, and pay for RevitRocketShip.com.
Okay.
Because this will actually up your skills, right? It will actually not just make your images look more pretty, but actually do something. And what it will do is mimic construction so that you know that the buildings that are eventually constructed are built and designed and drawn correctly. Meaning you don't have in some elevations that your building is going to some height and then in sections at different heights because you didn't change it because you worked in CAD, and all of a sudden you're breaking the zoning code and you're only discovering this mid-construction. You don't have a hallway that doesn't meet code because you just changed the number on the dimension, but not the actual size. So all of a sudden it's in construction and you break code. Revit is an amazing tool. Everyone's using it. Learn what we teach at universities, at professionals, and in our own office, RevitRocketShip.com.
I want you to go check out ARCAT.com. Why? Because as more businesses and tenants demand green design in their buildings, LEED certification is more important than ever. And while ARCAT is known for being red, they can help you go green. ARCAT provides thousands of LEED reports from building product manufacturers on how their products can help you make the green choice that's right for your project. Head over to ARCAT.com and find out the information you need for LEED. Last but certainly not least, Pella Luxury. If you have never experienced a brand like this before, you need to go check them out. Over at PellaLuxury.com/the firm, the collection of brands within the luxury division of Pella are the conversation starters, the pioneers of industry who provide window and door solutions to discerning architects, the building industry, and beyond. They have decades of experience creating things no one else in the world is creating, and the collection of brands are brought together to complement and build on one another. They don't push beyond the limits. They set them. Explore PellaLuxury.com/the firm. That's PellaLuxury.com/the firm today. Back to you, Gore.
Okay. How can you improve your firm's efficiency with this one simple change? That's what I want to touch on. I want to know if you think it's true or if there's if there's something else that's better or if this is correct. And I want to talk about it from the broad sense first. There's a principle. And one of the principles we operate on and everyone should operate on is, what is your feedback loop? What does that even look like? How is that feedback loop managed, right? The one simple change is the tactic, right? The tactic is to respond within 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you need to do is make sure that's implemented in practice. That means that when your staff or yourself, you should be able to manage yourself. When your staff is responding, you need to see, hey, an email's coming in. Oh, it's 24 hours later. They didn't respond. Walk over and talk to them and say, hey, this is one of the rules that we have. You know, what's going on, right? And I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into this, because there's two things that you have to do when you're doing this, because most of this comes through email. Obviously, some of it can come through a phone call. One is, some people check their emails before work or after work or during the weekend, and they don't respond. They just see their emails, they pop up, and they read whatever came in.
And the problem with that is great, you saw it, but that's the problem. Because then it's marked as read, and it's like, now the weekend passed. I don't, like, it's Monday. That was last week. I just completely forget about it. Wednesday comes around. You get woken up by the thought of, oh crap, I didn't get back to Steve.
Yep.
Then Friday comes. Yeah.
Yep. So mark as unread. That's one key.
Or star them. I star them. But either way,
them.
put some notification, some kind of way of making it obvious that I need to get back to this person.
Yep.
You know what I'll do with a text message? This is a little hack, Al.
Ooh.
Is I will, if I get a text message. So I got a text message, for instance, from our civil engineer, and he was on vacation, and he goes, "Hey, can you email that request to me?" And I did. I don't know what I was doing, but it was something to where, like, I'm not in front of a computer. I will take a screen cap of like a request or a text, and I will email it to myself, and then I will either do what you said, mark it as unread, or star it. That has been a giant one. Yeah, it doesn't even matter if I get like a request from my wife or my kids or something. Whatever it is, that's something that I know that I can't get to right away. Because what are you gonna do? Scroll through your old texts? No, you need to provide a pathway for you to touch that later on.
I have only a couple of weeks ago started just emailing myself, like on the weekends. Like, I think about something and I can't do it right now. Just email myself.
Yeah.
Monday pops up. Oh, okay. I need to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. The second tip is, have the person doing the work respond. And I think people don't make the cutoff when, hey, you have a new employee. They might be seasoned or they might be freshly new. After you run them through your training, which you should have some sort of training, they should be on emails. And then they should be responding to things. Or you just have some sort of policy, like, let's say, Lance, you start a project with a client. Ideally, you would have introduced them in the beginning. Hey, this is Bob. He's also on your project. He's copied in the emails. And then probably after first pass or something like that, now Bob starts to take over and email and stuff like that. This is a problem because think about your feedback loop. If you are funneling everything through yourself only, you're making that feedback loop longer. You're forgetting things, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of the simple changes. Respond within 24 hours with the idea of, hey, mark things as unread and have the person actually doing it respond.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No, I kind of already interjected and gave you my thoughts about that. So I think that but to give comments on the whole thing,
yeah,
absolutely 100%. I mean, I guess I think one of the things that I wasn't included on when I first started working as an architect, unlicensed in 2 different firms, was not being included in the conversation. And I don't understand why people are holding that so close to their vests. You know, is like, are you that insecure of a person and a professional as a principal, licensed architect, whatever, with somebody who's an unlicensed architect, essentially underneath you in terms of the working order, that you think they're going to steal that client from you? Like, are you that insecure? What is your deal?
Yeah. That, and also like,
Who hurt you?
I do notice that like some emails from not, even if it was you, even if you were working for me,
Yeah.
I bet you not all the, I know for a fact the emails wouldn't be written the way that I want, that the way that I would do it.
Sure.
Right? It's just a matter of fact, right?
It still happens.
Yeah.
Like to this day with some of our senior staff. And I it's just not exactly me. So it's just like, but that's part of letting go.
Right. And here's the trade-off. I'll just give an example. We were talking to a client and it was about monetary thing. And someone from our staff listed out, how much we did and how much it's worth. And like and they sent it, but they didn't total it up. Like, oh, I would have totaled that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And then I, talked to him about it and it was all fine. But think about the trade-off. Here's the trade-off. Hey, we're talking to Bob again, who works for us. Hey, Bob, write up this email, send it to me. I'll either review it, change it, and then I'll send it. And you're doing that for every single client and every single email. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, I saw that email. Hey, next time total it up for them. And that comment is probably 1 out of 30 emails, maybe. Like that's kind of being a little bit too much, maybe 1 out of 50 emails. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
I like your thoughts, Al Gore.
Good.
That was good. Yeah, 100%.
I got one more.
I also like where you're going with the next bullet point and a new idea. But I have a question for you before you introduce it. Is where did this idea come from? Was it just out of Al Gore's amazing brain?
Yeah. So yes, it was. Matter of fact, Christmas party idea. We do a lot of work with 2 other firms: a mechanical, electrical, plumbing firm called RJA, and a structural firm called.
Which everybody who's an architect is listening. You're probably like, oh yeah, we do too. Obviously.
Yeah.
What we're getting at is like these are the ones we work with the most.
Yep.
And no offense to the others, you're great too, but we just have our preferences, and I think that's kind of where it's at. So when you're listening to this next segment, think about your preferences.
Yep. Oh, and there's also other firms that we also do a lot of work with. The reason when these ones are different is because they have multiple staff with them.
They have, exactly. That's literally it, because we work with other people that are just one-man shops or women shops.
All the time.
And so the other, I think, but also there is a similarity too. And I think that's part of the deal here is that each of the firms are owned by people that are about our age.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
About millennials. So like you're sort of in between this Gen X millennial part. Yeah. My wife hates it. That's her problem.
Yeah.
That's her problem. I'm like,
you're not millennial enough.
Yeah. I'm like, you're just not, it's not my fault you're not in the cool kids club. This is an exclusive club.
And then you do like a weird.
I do all, you can't even imagine. Anyway, so it's interesting working with these folks that have very similar rules about communication, like Al just talked about, staff sizes, the way we operate. So that's part of going into this. Why this idea is forming.
Yep. Another is a structural engineering firm, and I asked 2 of the guys that were in the office at the time, hey, how does it work with emails? Is it only going through the principals, or are you talking to other staff level at your level? And they said, okay, it used to go through the principals, but now I'm talking to and started naming names. And then bingo, I went like, okay, we've never met these people. We've met the higher ups.
The principals.
Yep. So every year we do a Christmas party. Why don't we start it off with having that Christmas party? I already talked to the principals at both of these firms. They love the idea. Like, let's meet in Denver. We'll get a room, probably at our Denver office. We can rent a big conference room. We actually get it for free, so like whatever. Have burritos at 9, 10 a.m. It could be possible have mimosas. Like, I don't know what else we'll do. Like maybe we ask how many people are in their firm and give them. I thought about this. What do you think about this? Giving them a little bag, right? And maybe it's an F9 mug, and then like 2-second lean, or like something like that. Mm-hmm. Just say, we love working with y'all. We wanted to put faces to names. Literally introduce everyone so that hey, this is Bob from our firm. So someone out there in the audience will be like, oh, I work with Bob all the time. I'll go say hi to Bob. That's what we want to do.
I like it. I think it's going to be great. I'm not sure it could have happened before this, before like this time, because obviously one of the firms we just started working with, I would say in the last, year or so or something like that. But I'm interested. We should do a follow-up episode, obviously, after that happens, maybe about the same time next year.
Yep.
And kind of see like what flushed out of that. If anything improved, if it, where we're at with things.
Okay, so 2 questions.
One thing I'd want to bring up is like the communication thing. I know we harp on this a lot about this 1 hour rule and then this 24-hour rule. Ideally, you get back to somebody within 1 hour. It's one of the F9 principles. At the latest, 24 hours. It is just so important. And that one simple thing sets you apart from the crowd so much. So I want to, I don't want to tell them how to do their business, but I just want to explain. It would be nice. I don't know. I'm trying to think just out loud here and spitball is are there examples we could give where it made all the difference in the world and how we beat out the competition and, where just ask them where they think after you give those examples, like where do you guys have similar, do you guys have we literally write it out on the website. Do you guys have an unwritten rule for it?
Well, how about this? Let's say I talk to the other owners and just say, hey, what we want to do is introduce our firm, introduce our staff, and just tell a little bit about our firm.
Yeah.
Could you do the same? And then tell them why so that people will see Bob and want to go, at least talk to him. And part of ours is like, hey, just one thing we're based off of is foundational principles. And there's 9 of them. But I actually just want to highlight 3 of them because everyone here has seen our work. We don't need to talk about our work because we've all worked together.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's on time, professional, and over deliver. And then on time, you talk about, that responding and stuff like that. The only thing I'm thinking too is like the question to you is there a gift? Because we just got shirts from one of the firms and they actually were good. Like I was, you always expect terrible stuff. Cheap.
Well,
terrible.
That's what Al does. See, what his middle name is. He is Al expects terrible stuff. Gore.
Yeah, and you want to know why? Because then I'm always pleasantly surprised when I get good stuff.
Yeah. There was a guy. So one of the on last week's episode, I called out. I went back and forth with some guy on LinkedIn. Just a quick follow up with that. In the podcast episode, if it isn't obvious, everybody who's listening, as a longtime listener or even a new listener, are you noticing a theme with the joking about the middle names constantly? Every episode they change that it's this running, I don't know, 5-year joke that you've been hearing about. This guy, he got all up in arms because he was like, oh, and you call yourself Lance the, quote, Oracle? I could not laugh harder. And I go, wow, you really got triggered, bro.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Al Oracle Gore, I've heard on here too.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Anyway.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never going to stop with the nicknames. I've done some pretty making fun of you too. It's pretty.
Oh my God. It's every episode.
Yeah. So where were we at? Is there, if anyone has any ideas, you can email me at akg@f9productions.com. Something that you got that you thought was awesome would be great, especially if you had a link to it. And then what do you think about the book idea? Because is that too much pressing other firms? You know what I mean? I don't think I'd mind if someone gave our whole firm a book, especially if it was
not
cool.
at all.
I'd be like, oh, this is
Not at
awesome. And then if I breezed through it and knew the book and be like, okay, everyone read a chapter a week. You know what I mean? Honestly, just read a chapter a week.
Well, it's so interesting. I instantly think of so you're just going to give them the 2-second lean and tell them how it's improved our firm over the course of the blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
You're just going to do that, right? And then hopefully they do that. And then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's a great idea. Whether they do it or don't. But that's why I'm trying to emphasize not pushing, not telling them what to do, but saying, here's an example. Here's what we do. Here's how it's helped us.
Him.
By the way, here's that book. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a read between the lines sort of thing.
Yeah.
Take it, Yep. No harm, no foul.
Well, yeah, that's all I have for that.
Cool. Well, very exciting. We'll keep you guys updated about next year this time. I'm going to try to remember that we talk about it and see how it's played out over the course of the year.
Yep.
Speaking of playing out, we have no reads, but we do have some Elon Musk and some more Elon Musk talk, some news here.
Yeah. So Elon Musk says or has said that remote workers are just pretending to work. This is an article on Fortune magazine. Turns out he's sort of right, they say.
It's actually on Yahoo, but that's okay. Fortune magazine reported on it. Yeah.
They wrote it.
If you want to find it, it's just search whatever browser you're using. Elon Musk says remote workers are just pretending to work.
Yep. So what is happening, according to GitLab and someone else putting numbers on it, is knowledge workers waste an extra. So everyone knows.
What the hell's a knowledge worker?
Laptop class.
There you go.
Yep. An extra 67 minutes online each day doing menial tasks.
Terrible.
For the express purpose of proving to their managers and colleagues that they are available and working.
That's an hour a day. That's 5 hours a week. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with that.
Yeah. It's taking a strain. The survey polled 2,000 knowledge workers and found that more than half of them, 54%, reported feeling pressured to show their online status by replying to emails and Slack messages. You know what's so weird, too? I do hate surveys, even though I quoted one. Because here's the question, like, do you feel pressure to show your status? And like, it's almost like asking, like, do you feel pressure to show up to work every day at 8 a.m.? I guess so. I guess I have to do that.
Well, here's why I think what you're getting at is like, I've never thought I wouldn't think that way. Like, you're asking me in a way that I wouldn't even think.
Yeah. Exactly. But this is what's also weird about it. Okay. Do you feel pressure to show that your online status and stuff like that? Okay. If the answer is yes, is it because you're not? Like, if you're at work, clearly people can see that you're working, you're talking, you're doing stuff. If you're at home and you're doing the laundry and not working, do you feel pressure like, oh, is anyone emailing me? Is anyone trying to get a hold of me? Is anyone on Slack and I'm literally going for a walk randomly or not doing anything? Like, is that why you feel pressure? Because would you... Answer me this. Riddle me this. Lance, you're sitting at home doing work, actually getting things done. Let's say we have Slack, we don't have Slack. And I email you, I Slack you. Is it pressure for you to respond if you're sitting there working, doing your work, which is part of work is communication? Like, honestly, or are you only feeling the pressure because you're not doing
Again, so maybe you poisoned my brain just now.
Yeah.
But I just am not thinking that way.
Welcome to my level.
Okay. It took me about 14 years.
Yep.
19 years. 19 years, something like that. Yep. Sure. Somewhere around there.
So your answer is like, I'm just not thinking that way.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You tainted me.
Yep. Poisoned the well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, the point. So can we get to the like? I just want to point. I want to drill down on this, right? So this whole remote thing again is what we've been talking about.
Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon calls remote work is seen as no match for the office when it comes to learning, growth, and creating upward mobility. Learning, growth, and upward mobility.
Yeah.
Okay.
So exactly. Are you on to that wasn't the CEO of
Next
the
one.
airlines?
Next article.
Oh, okay.
From Fortune via Yahoo.
Yeah.
Major airline CEO rips epidemic of remote work as cause for summer travel chaos. People learn to get easy money from working out of their homes. They're a little bit stressed when they're out walking around not working and they have to go back to Slack. So it's maybe not too easy. And I'm joking. Basically, this article's point, this is what one CEO says. Not everyone agrees with him, but people don't want to come work for him an airport job when you can get the same pay and work at home. Now, people would say, well, then shouldn't you be paying people, more to go do that? Sure, maybe. I think we're in weird times. I think that it is a possibility, if the world is a simulation, that all of us chose to say, hey, what was the end of the world like? Where we all then had to get digitized because we messed everything up.
Uh-huh.
And now we get to choose what time period we came in. And it's right now. And what I mean by that...
I would have picked the 90s, though. That's terrible.
Well, you did.
Dang it, I did.
Hey, could I grow up in the 90s?
I want my adolescence to be formed by the 90s.
Yeah. So you did pick that.
Yeah,
so
Nickelodeon, TRL. It was so good.
When MTV was MTV.
It was still MTV.
Yep. Spring break. And what I'm getting at, besides that philosophical nonsense, is you have farmers who need to make food, right? And it's hard work. And then you have someone who makes an app, makes a computer, and then literally can send it out and send updates to hundreds of thousands of millions of people. You maybe cannot compete. And what I'm saying is like, you have to show up and chuck luggage, right? Versus, if I have some sort of skill and whatever, I can sit at home and do some work. I'm saying like it might be hard to balance these things. And especially if, like, how scary does it get if there's such a need for these other jobs and you're like, why work on the farm? I'm using that example, or in the airport when I can do these other things. It might, and then to get them back, it might be way too expensive / very expensive to, let's say, fly or get food. I don't know. We haven't seen something like this computer age where we have a little bit where you can make one thing and just digitally reproduce it. The only thing we saw was the Industrial Revolution, where you had to buy basically machines and you had to man the machines to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So my conclusion of the whole thing is, once again, you have these giants, capitalist giants, people who are huge entrepreneurs. They'll be remembered for pretty much forever, even no matter who wins the history battle. Saying again, like, I'm not sure about this remote work. Seems like going all the way on that level is maybe not the best solution. Maybe it's also not completely office. Maybe it's a hybrid. So just life is a gray area, right? Even though we might have black and white ideas, as soon as you enter life, it's like there's the gray area. Maybe it's meeting in the middle. Think about it.
Yeah. Sounds good. That's all I have. Lance, take us out.
If you like this episode, please make sure you share it with a friend, a colleague, certainly your mom. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash that subscribe button, leave us a positive comment, and we will see you next week.